Good evening. I'm Jay Negrini, President of the Wilson School Board. I'd like to call to order tonight's May 18th, 2015 School Board meeting. Could I get a roll call, please?
Dr. Shimoleski.
Here.
Mr. Ehrlich.
Here.
Mr. Hop. Here. Mrs. Mack. Here. Mr. Martin. Mr. Metzger.
Here.
Mr. Negrini.
Here.
Mrs. Reed. Here. Mr. Wolf. 7 present, 2 absent.
Please rise for the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Mr. Moravich, our announcement on public participation, please.
There's 2 opportunities for the public to address the board. One is immediately before the agenda on agenda items, and the other is at the end of the meeting on non-agenda items. Pursuant to board policy and the Sunshine Law, it is a 3-minute opportunity to discuss matters that may come before the board, and it is not an opportunity to question and answer the board. Do we have anything on agenda items?
All right, Wilson, good news. First and foremost, the Wilson School District recently achieved the silver medal distinction by U.S. News and World Report as one of America's best high schools. U.S. News and World Report's ranked Wilson number 44 in the state, and we are currently the only high school in Berks County to be recognized. So congratulations to the staff, administration, students for putting in the time to earn such a tremendous distinction. You deserve a lot of credit for that. Looking forward to moving up the rankings in the years to come. Secondly, I have a letter here from one of our exchange students, that would be Sanders Nygaard, to the Wilson School District. Few words can describe the last 10 months of my life in regard to what exchange is really about. Maybe it is the word exchange itself, exchange of ideas, culture, and life philosophy. Throughout my stay as a high school student, I have had the unique opportunity to get a rare insight into everyday. Because of this, I would like to show my gratitude in addition to honoring these individuals for how they have helped me over the course of my stay by mentioning them. Dr. Fiore, Justin Argelis, Christine Gilbert, Stephanie Wagner, Mark Keeley, Kelly Beck, Tina Clark Ibsen, and Catherine Ewing. Combined with all my travels around the United States, I have to say I'm truly blessed to have ended up in such a great school district with knowledgeable, in addition to eager teachers who make the classroom come alive, in addition to a great student body which strives to be the best in every category to place Wilson High on the world map. Therefore, on behalf of Education First and myself, thank you for opening the world through education in addition to promoting learning and understanding. So thought that we would share that letter with everyone as that speaks to how welcoming and enriching the lives of other students as they come to Wilson. And lastly, this evening is Abby O'Shea's last meeting with us. So I have, on behalf of the board, a gift card and some flowers in appreciation for your time and commitment to this board. All right, we have presentations this evening. Mr. Bender.
Good evening. It's my pleasure to introduce Dave Peschler, who will say a few words about the WorldQuest team, and then receive recognition from Mrs. Carroll. Dave?
Good evening, esteemed board members and Wilson community. I would just like to thank this opportunity to thank Mrs. Carroll for the World Affairs Council for coming to recognize Wilson's efforts this year. Academic WorldQuest is a fantastic program that offers students an opportunity to work collaboratively and look and examine and discuss global issues that are impacting our world today. The overarching goal of this program is simply to create a more informed, engaged, and productive global community, and the students who I'm about to mention briefly embody this. I'd like to take a moment just to recognize my highly motivated team members. we will bring up shortly Alicia Muir, Sarah Hausman, and Olivia Grayeski. These students, besides taking an immense amount of advanced classes here at Wilson, found time to spend countless hours creating these outlines ranging on the topics that we had to examine, from human trafficking to the Crimea crisis. They were also very instrumental in organizing weekly review sessions to help us prepare for our local competition that we had this past January in Albright University. This year, Wilson finished third at the local competition, which was very, very competitive out of 13 schools, and we are looking forward to improving upon that next year. I would like, again, just to thank the board, community, and of course, Mrs. Carroll from the World Affairs Council for recognizing our students' efforts this year, and we're looking forward to competing again next year. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm representing my husband tonight, who's away on a trip. And on behalf of the World Affairs Council of Greater Reading, I'm very pleased to present you with David Peschler with a certificate of appreciation for your leadership of the Wilson team in the World Quest competition that was held on January 13th, 2015. Thank you very much for all you've done for the team.
Thank you. Just like to call up my students, Alicia, Olivia, and Sarah.
All right, moving on to approval of the minutes. Is there a motion to approve the May 4th, 2015 minutes? Dr. Chmielewski, seconded by Mrs. Reed. Any questions or comments? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Agenda item number 1, Dr. Chmielewski.
Mr. President, I would like to formally submit the previously reviewed Treasurer's Report, Investment Report, and General Fund financial reports from this past month.
Is there a second to approve those reports? Mrs. Mack, any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Dr. Chmielewski.
Yes.
Mr. Ehrlich.
Yes.
Mr. Hop.
Yes.
Mrs. Mack.
Yes.
Mr. Metzger.
Yes.
Mr. Negrin.
Yes.
Mrs. Reed.
Yes.
7 for, none against.
Agenda item number 2, payment of bills. Dr. Chmielewski.
Mr. President, I submit the following bills in the amount of $3,712,740.40 to be paid from the 2014-15 General Fund and $10,776.36 from the Capital Reserve Fund.
Is there a second to pay those bills? Mrs. Reed, any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Mr. Ehrlich.
Yes.
Mr. Hop.
Yes.
Mrs. Mack. Yes. Mr. Metzger.
Yes.
Mr. Negrin.
Yes.
Mrs. Reed. Yes. Dr. Chmielewski.
Yes.
7 for, none against.
Agenda item number 3, financial reports. Dr. Chmielewski.
As previously submitted to the board, the financial reports for the cafeteria account, child care account, and the activity accounts from Wilson West, Wilson Southern, and the high school, all dated April 2015.
Is there a second to agenda item number 3? Mrs. Mack, any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Mr. Hop.
Yes.
Mrs. Mack. Yes. Mr. Metzger.
Yes.
Mr. Negrin.
Yes.
Mrs. Reed. Yes. Dr. Chmielewski.
Yes.
Mr. Ehrlich.
Yes.
7 for, none against.
Are there any communications this evening?
Agenda item number 4, ratification approval of the following. 4.1, request permission to approve the revised 2015 elementary and secondary field trips as attached. That would be A. Under B, request permission to approve the Wilson Child Care summer field trips as attached, no cost to the district. And also C, request permission to approve the Wilson Child Care summer field trips for preschool as attached. Is there a motion to approve 4.1? Dr. Chmielewski is seconded by Mr. Ehrlich. Any questions or comments? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Agenda item number 5, Superintendent's report. Dr. Ruth.
Thank you, President Negrini. Typical report for this time of year. Two things I want to point out is a resignation from Cheryl Verano, who is leaving us. She was away for this past year, but she had been with us for quite a long period of time at our smaller Lincoln Park School, and then she spent a little bit of time at Spring Ridge during the transition, and we wish Cheryl well. In addition, we'd like to wish a healthy, happy retirement to Judith Coe, who's a kindergarten teacher at Cornwall Terrace. And that's my report for this evening.
Thank you, Dr. Ruth. Is there a motion to approve the superintendent's report? Mr. Ehrlich, seconded by Dr. Chmielewski. Any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Yes. Mr. Metzger.
Yes.
Mr. Negrini.
Yes.
Mrs. Reed. Yes. Dr. Chmielewski.
Yes.
Mr. Ehrlich.
Yes.
Mr. Hawes.
Yes.
7-4, none against.
Next item on the agenda is under pupil services. 8.1, request permission to waive tuition for the following students: a female kindergarten student at Whitfield, a senior female at the high school, and a female kindergarten student at Spring Ridge. We have 8.2. Actually, Dr. Chmielewski, do you want us to vote separately? Okay, why don't we do that? Second, under 8.2, request permission to approve the addendum to the settlement agreement and release to directly pay tuition and fees to Hogan Learning Academy rather than New Story at the rate of $345 per day beginning May 19, 2015 until June 3, 2015, and fund the Hogan Summer 2015 program in an amount not to exceed $10,260 to settle and comprise all claims raised by the parents, and to authorize the board president and secretary to execute the agreement on behalf of the district. 8.4, request permission to enroll foreign exchange student Carla Essling at the high school from Germany for the 2015-16 school year. And 8.4, request permission to approve the adoption of the settlement agreement and release to pay the Janus School an amount not to exceed $34,495 for tuition and fees for the 2015-16 school year, an amount not to exceed $35,900 for tuition fees for the 2016-17 school year, and an amount not to exceed $37,300 for tuition and fees for the 2017-18 school year, plus transportation and summer 2015, 2016, and 2017 program to settle and comprise all claims raised by the parents of a special education student, and to authorize the board president and secretary to execute the agreement on behalf of the district. So at this point, I'm looking for a motion to approve 8.1 through 8.4. We can do 8.5? All right. And 8.5, request approval of the supplemental school counselor salaries for the summer of 2015 as listed. And so we will look for a motion to approve 8.1 through 8.5. Dr. Chmielewski, seconded by Mr. Ehrlich. Any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Mr. Negrini.
Yes.
Mrs. Reed. Dr. Chmielewski.
Yes.
Mr. Hawes.
Yes.
Mr. Ehrlich.
Yes.
Mrs. Net. Yes. 7-4, none against.
Voting separately on 8.6, request approval of the supplemental school nurse salaries, summer of 2015. Reason being Dr. Chmielewski's wife, Angela, is listed as one of the potential employees as a school nurse. So is there a motion to approve 8.6? Mrs. Reed, seconded by Mr. Ehrlich. Any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Reed. Yes. Dr. Chmielewski.
Abstain.
Mr. Ehrlich.
Yes.
Mr. Hawes.
Yes.
Mrs. Net. Yes. Mr. Metzger.
Yes.
Mr. Negrini.
Yes.
6-4, 1 abstention.
Under Technology and Media, 9.1, request permission to enter into a 5-year service contract with Edwards Systems for a multifunctional printer at Whitfield Elementary for $180 per month. Is there a motion to approve 9.1? Mrs. Mack, is there a second? Mr. Ehrlich, any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Dr. Shimeleski.
Yes.
Mr. Ehrlich.
Yes.
Mr. Hawk.
Yes.
Mrs. Mack. Yes. Mr. Metzger.
Yes.
Mr. Negrini.
Yes.
Mrs. Reed. 7-4, 9 against.
Under Operations 10.1, request permission to use up to an additional $7,500 from the Capital Reserve Fund to complete the purchase of the previously approved courier vehicle. Any funds received from the sale of the 1988 GMC box truck from transportation will offset this request and be placed in the Capital Reserve Fund. Is there a motion to approve 10.1? Mrs. Reed, is there a second? Mr. Ehrlich, any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Mr. Ehrlich.
Yes.
Mr. Hawk.
Yes.
Mrs. Mack. Yes. Mr. Metzger.
Yes.
Mr. Negrini.
Yes.
Mrs. Reed. Dr. Shimeleski.
Yes.
7-4, 9 against.
Moving on to Finance 11.1, request approval to award contracts for the purchase of supplies through the Berks County Joint Purchasing as noted on attached list. 11.2, request approval to award the 2015-16 supplies bids as noted on attached list. 11.3, request approval of the budget transfers dated April 16th through May 13th, 2015. And 11.4, request permission to create an Interact Club student activity account for the high school to be led by Mr. Christopher Daubert. Is there a motion to approve those four agenda items under Finance? Mrs. Mack, is there a second? Mr. Ehrlich, any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Mr. Hawk.
Yes.
Mrs. Mack. Yes. Mr. Metzger.
Yes.
Mr. Negrini.
Yes.
Mrs. Reed. Yes. Dr. Shimeleski.
Yes.
Mr. Ehrlich.
Yes.
7-4, 9 against.
Under Curriculum and Staff Development, 12.1, requests approval of the addition of 5 elementary teaching positions for the Discovery Teacher, job description as attached. Is there a motion to approve 12.1? Mrs. Reed, is there a second? Dr. Chmielewski, any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Mack. Yes. Mr. Metzger.
Yes.
Mr. Negrini.
Yes.
Mrs. Reed. Yes. Dr. Shimeleski.
Yes.
Mr. Ehrlich.
Yes.
Mr. Hawk.
Yes.
7-4, 9 against.
Under Transportation, 13.
1, request approval of the agreement with the Twin Valley School District to provide transportation for one Wilson student to Hilltop Prep School during the 2014-15 school year at a per diem rate of $70. And 13.2, requests approval of the agreement with the Exeter Area School District for Wilson to provide transportation for one Exeter student to CSF Bucksmont Academy during the 2014-15 school year at a per diem rate of $16.75. Is there a motion to approve those two agenda items? Dr. Chmielewski, is there a second? Mrs. Mack, any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Mr. Metzger.
Yes.
Mr. Negrini.
Yes.
Mrs. Reed. Yes. Dr. Shimeleski.
Yes.
Mr. Ehrlich.
Yes.
Mr. Hawk.
Yes.
Mrs. Mack. Yes. 7-4.
Under Child Care, 15.1, request to approve to contract with Berkshire Systems Group Incorporated to remove existing clocks and replace them with new wireless correction clocks at the Berkshire Heights Early Learning Center. Approximate cost of the project will be $4,768. All costs will be paid for by Wilson Child Care, no cost to the district. 15.2, request to approve to contract with Troutman Painting Incorporated for painting of the kitchen and an office at the Berkshire Heights Early Learning Center. Approximate costs of the project will be $1,650. All costs will be paid for by the Wilson Child Care, no cost to the district. 15.3, request to approve to contract with GBC for a laminator at Berkshire Heights Early Learning Center. Approximate cost of the project will be $1,801.10. All costs will be paid for by the Wilson Child Care, no cost to the district. And finally, 15.4, request to approve to purchase with discount school supply for 5-section preschool lockers at Berkshire Heights Early Learning Center. Approximate cost of the project will be $6,495.76. All costs will be paid for by the Wilson Child Care, no cost to the district. Is there a motion to approve those 4 agenda items? Mrs. Reed, seconded by Mr. Metzger. Any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Reed.
Yes.
Dr. Shimeleski.
Yes.
Mr. Earl.
Yes.
Mr. Hopper.
Yes.
Mrs. Smith.
Yes.
Mr. Metzger.
Yes.
Mr. Negri.
Yes.
7, 4, and 9 ayes.
All right, moving on to committee reports. BCTC, Mr. Metzger.
The next meeting of the JOC of BCTC will be held next Wednesday, the 27th at 7 o'clock at the BCTC East Campus. That is all.
Thank you, Mr. Metzger. BCIU, Mrs. Reed.
Next meeting is this Thursday.
Berks EIT, Mrs. Richards. Curriculum, Mrs. Reed.
Next meeting Wednesday of this week, 4 o'clock.
All right, Mr. Wolf is not present. Mr. Kaufman, any updates regarding extracurricular teams still playing?
We have 2 teams still participating in postseason events. That's our boys and girls track teams. This past weekend they competed in districts and we had many fine performances. Probably most notable is that of our 3,200 meter relay team that took home the gold and did so by setting county and district records in the process. So that's great stuff. And we'll be sending 6 boys and 7 girls onto the state competition this coming weekend in Shippensburg. Thanks.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Wolf, or Mr. Kaufman. Facilities, there's no report. Finance, Mr. Ehrlich.
No report.
HR, Mr. Hopp.
No report.
All right, Mr. Martin is not present. PR, Ms. Kramer.
Wilson West previously was announced to be one of the schools to watch, and today hosted a celebration assembly. This is a really prestigious recognition, and they're presented with a plaque to hang in the school, and it was a really nice event with the jazz band and the choir, and it was a great celebration of this accomplishment. I had previously mentioned Ian Roth was named as a Reading Eagle Berks Best. We have another student, Robert Rapley, who was also named, and there was a photo shoot last week in the engineering lab. Both Ian and Robert will be recognized in the Berks Best section, which is in Sunday, May 31st newspaper. And related to technology, next week, Wilson is hosting a regional one-to-one site visit for approximately 100 educators to demonstrate how Wilson's leading the way with leveraging technology with our students, teachers, and staff. I don't know if Chris has anything to add to that.
It's very similar to last year's event, just kind of reached out a little bit broader this year to include more school districts.
And Wilson's Pride will be arriving at households this week. Thank you.
Thank you. Technology, Dr. Chmielewski.
Kristen just gave my report. Other than we've got a lot of sponsorships this year, and it's not costing the district anything.
Great.
It's really cool.
Ms. O'Shea, your last report.
I would like to start by thanking everybody on the board for the wonderful year. I really appreciated the welcome, and you guys made this year wonderful, so thank you very much. And moving on to next year, I would like to introduce the students you will be seeing next year. We have Gabriella Audi, who will be the president for next year, and then Amina Shaturu will be our vice president, and you will probably be seeing both of them a lot next year.
Lucky girls.
Thank you. Education Foundation, Ms. Kramer.
We held our last board meeting for the school year this past Friday and talked a lot about the strategic planning session we had earlier in April. So we're looking at our plan and goals for the next 3 years and implementing them. One role is some of the board members will be rolling off. They've been involved since the beginning, so we're really looking to develop a board matrix and get some younger parents involved and alumni in the foundation board. Also, this time of year was the process for the EITC renewal, so we submitted that. And also I reached out to all the businesses that have supported the foundation through EITC through the past 3 years to remind them of the business process. And the next event we have is the Wilson Community Night at the Fighting Phils, where students are recognized for academic achievements. That's coming up on Friday, June 12th. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Maravich? Tomorrow is municipal election primaries. I encourage everyone to get out there. Typically, this is the time where there's low voter turnout. However, one of the very important positions that is on the ballot tomorrow is 5 school board members' positions. Certainly, it, I believe, impacts most of the community members more than anyone else in terms of tax dollars. This is a $95 million budget. There are 6 candidates on the ballot tomorrow for 5 positions. So I encourage everyone to get out there and vote, and encourage your friends and neighbors to get out there and vote. Secondly, a very happy birthday to Mr. Hopp. We won't give away how old he turned today, but happy birthday to you, Mr. Hopp.
I was telling Jay that my wife, and I'm not exaggerating, I'm finally to the point where about a half hour after I woke up, she reminded me it was my birthday. I literally forgot. So,
is there any other business this evening from the board? And is there any public participation on non-agenda items this evening? All right. Hearing none, is there a motion to adjourn this evening's meeting?
I move to adjourn the meeting.
Mrs. Mack, is there a second? Dr. Chmielewski? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, thank you very much.